Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to another video and welcome to Writer Wednesday. I am going to be incredibly vulnerable today and share with you the specifics of my writing process. Now, please don't judge. Take this, watch this video if you choose to with an open mind, open heart, and please be kind in the comments. If it's not your thing, click away, go watch something else. But I know I personally enjoy learning about other people's process and learning from it and gleaning things that, excuse me, that I might want to try. And so I'm going to be vulnerable and transparent and share how I work with you. So the first part to my, or the first step to my writing process, and I'm going to set this aside here, is index cards. And this is a deck of cards that I've been working on for the book that I'm writing that's soon to come out at the end of this year. It's called Wishful Thinking, Cautionary Tales About the Dark Side of Hope. And I start with index cards. And these, if you've been around here for any length of time, you know these are my favorite index cards. They're by Oxford, heavyweight ruled index cards. They do not come, and I'm going to leave a link to everything that I use down below too, in case you're curious. So I'll leave a link to these. These are truly heavyweight, and I like to use heavyweight cards because, yeah, these cards don't take a beating. Now, they don't come punched. I punch them myself because sometimes I like to keep them on a binder ring. Most of the time, though, at least as of late, I'm just using some elastic, 1/4 inch braided elastic. This way I can just throw it in my purse, so on and so forth. I just put a little fray check on the cut edge there. But why do I start with index cards? They are perfect for writing down ideas, 1 per card, concepts, again, 1 per card, or potential truths that I want to share, or even just entertaining anecdotes. Essentially, my index cards are my small seeds for manuscripts. I may not know in advance when I'm writing down or jotting down notes and ideas on index cards. I may not know if they're going to make it into a manuscript or if it's going to, turn into a full-fledged manuscript. But I get the information down. I get my ideas down. It's kind of like an ice box, right? You put things on ice so you don't lose them, but you keep them. So that's where I start. After I've got a bunch of index cards that I've put together and thought, I think I've got something here. That's when I turn to a writing tablet. These are my favorites. My number 1 favorite is the Top Flight. My other favorite, when I can't get the Top Flight on a good deal, is the Bazic. Real quick, because I'm doing another video on these specifically. If you want to try the Top Flight, I highly recommend getting them on Amazon Fresh, where you can get them for about $1.59 a pad. Or a tablet. If you can't get it for $1.59, don't pay more. Get a 6-pack of the Bazic, where you can get them for about $2.68 a piece when you buy 6 of them. But how and why do I use these in my writing process? I take my cards, and then, oh boy, now again, this is transparent, okay? Don't judge me. I write my topic or whatever the seed is on my index card at the top, and I just scribble ideas. And I'm going to try not to leave these here very long so you don't read them, because I don't want to spoil my book. But after I have a collection of my notepad pieces, where my tablet, and you can see it's well loved, I just rip them out. There's something very tangible and tactic about this. I like the analog experience of creating in my writing. I don't like just sitting down at the computer. In fact, I can't sit down at the computer and just type off the top of my head. I have to go through this process of physically getting it down on paper, writing it out longhand. In fact, writing it out several times. First on the index card, then on my note writing tablet, and then after I've got a collection of these, drum roll please, I move the information and all of my ideas to a composition notebook. I'm going to talk about how I did this cover in another video, but suffice to say, I like to move when I'm ready to work on a manuscript really, wholeheartedly. I move all of my notes to a composition notebook. And as you can see here, this is the book that I'm currently working on, Wishful Thinking, Cautionary Tales About the Dark Side of Hope. Shameless plug, coming out at the end of the year. Look for it. But I like to create a mock cover because I find it inspiring. This way, when I sit down to brainstorm further or to organize my thoughts or ideas, somehow looking at the outside cover of the book makes it more real and inspires me and keeps me going and keeps me thinking. So how do I use the composition notebook? I put my notes that were on my tablet, and you can see I've got a bunch of, this is literally what happens. After I take my notes off my writing tablet, I transcribe them in here. For whatever reason, I always skip a few pages at the front. That's because I do like to take notes about the process I'm in, especially when I'm writing, or I might want to use these pages to write a mock or a first draft of my table of contents, work through it here. But then I go through and I put all of my concepts on each page. And that just gives me lots of space and room to think even further and to expound on that, expand on things. But once I have all of my notes from my writing tablet recorded, written down, and organized in my composition notebook, they literally get just ripped up. And boy, I don't know why, but it is just incredibly satisfying to rip these up one page by one page as I transcribe it into my composition notebook. Now, again, I said no judgment. If you were watching this laughing at me right now, know that I know this is this sounds crazy, I'm sure. Why would I write the same things over and over and over? Because I write it 3 times. First on the index cards, then on the writing tablet, the 6x9 tablet of paper, and then to a composition notebook. And then I actually write it a 4th time, my first draft in the computer. Why do I do that? Because every time I do, it solidifies my ideas that much better. It takes what was once a small idea and it just grows and oftentimes takes on a life of its own. Physically writing on paper is an important tool in my writing and my creative process. Not only that, I find writing to be very cathartic. I wrote a fiction book last year, middle grade fiction, Tether and Token. It's still available on Amazon if you're curious. But I discovered through that process I did enjoy writing, but I am absolutely a creative nonfiction person, self-help, memoir. And so I enjoy, it's very cathartic for me to write and to think about these things as I write them over and over and over, because that's how I learn. It enables me to be that much more self-reflective and allows me to be much more intentional in my writing. So there you have it. I think this is my most vulnerable video that I've done. Because why? Because writing is a very vulnerable thing. But I'm proud of that because I am not one of the creators or authors out there using AI. When I write, I am pouring my heart and my thoughts onto the page to share with you. And today, I have shared with you how I do that through my own unique process. If you've watched this video, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Until the next time, I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.